Girl, your beauty, look at you, you are cutie. With your dressing, girl, you looking juicy. With your dressing, girl, you looking juicy. Girl, it be sake of your beauty. Ooh, 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 look at you, you are cutie. With your dressing, girl, you looking juicy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. If this is not clear, it's because I'm filming from my front camera rather than the back camera because I want to see myself as I talk, okay? Cool. Today we're going to talk about books. Today we're going to talk about Americanah and Queenie. Queenie is by Candice Carty-Williams. This beautiful woman. Look at her. I can see she's got dimples. I can see the Miley twists. This book is really good. It is a fiction. I read mostly fictions. So my friends have asked me what it's about. What I would say is it's about a black woman who is going through a breakup and is navigating life. She's adulting, I would say. She's adulting whilst going through a breakup, and then also addressing some childhood issues that make themselves known in the way she behaves as a grown-up woman. It's a really good book. We touch on, I say me and Miss Candice wrote the book, but she touches on Black Lives Matter on here. She touches on hair. She touches on the madness of men. She touches on why women let men do madness to them. There's a lot of culture in here, a lot of Jamaican culture. She touches on gentrification of Brixton. There's a lot in here. This book is just packed. And I feel like anyone that's from the UK, I'm quite familiar with Brixton. So for me, it was really nice to read this book because I could when she would say, I walked up the steps from Brixton and I could smell the hot dog man or something like that. I was like, I know that man. I ate his hot dog. I know him. So yeah, it was really nice to read. I could really place myself in the story. And it's just, yeah, I would say it's good. I would definitely read it. There were times when my eyes would get watery. Her grandparents in this book reminds me of people I go to church with, because I go to church. It's a multicultural church, but there's a heavy Caribbean or West Indian presence in the church, which I really love. Because it means that we get to eat curry goat and rice and peas and stuff all the time. Miss you guys if you're watching. Miss you. But yeah, it's a really good book, and we see her go through stages of forgiveness, and I'm gonna read it again for sure. I finished it in 1 week. It's got quite big text, so I didn't like how it slides out of this though. That's the only thing I didn't like, is the movement. It's just good. It's very insightful. It was a good book to start with. I'm glad I read this first before reading Americanah. This book is very insightful. It's very current, very relatable for me, because I feel like I could easily be in that position. Possibly not with the childhood trauma, but the way she's with her friends and work and stuff. It's just really to just place yourself in that book. This one, on the other hand, this one was a step up from Queenie. This is a novel, I think. I don't know what, yeah, a novel. I don't know what the difference is between a story and a novel, okay? But this book has smaller font. It is above this, it's just under 500 pages long. It's just a packed book. I really like this book, and I've seen, after I read it, for me, when I read a book, if I find myself researching the author, researching other books they've written, I know that I'm gonna read this person's book again. I think I'm gonna go for Half of a Yellow Sun, and I think that's based on the Biafran War. Yeah, I didn't find myself doing that too much for Queenie, but that's because I know that this is her first book, so I knew that there wasn't really much more to kind of find out. But this one, she does have a lot of other book, Miss Chimamanda. This one, let me go back. Let's read the blurb of Queenie. Okay, Sometimes I feel frantic and I feel like everything is just spun out of control, out of my hands. I don't know. I feel a bit like for a while I've been carrying 10 balls of wool and one ball fell, so I dropped another to catch it, but I still didn't catch it. Then 2 more started to unravel, and in trying to save those, I lost another one. Do you know what I mean? Meet Queenie Jenkins, journalist, catastrophist, expressive, aggressive, funny, dramatic, loved, lonely, enough. A darkly comic and bitingly subversive take on life, love, race, and family. Queenie will have you nodding in recognition, crying in solidarity, and rooting for an unforgettable character. Yep. On where is it? On life, about how she navigates moving out. I don't remember where she moved out from, but she got her own. Oh yeah, she moved out from her boyfriends because they broke up, moving into somewhere of her own, and just the struggles of housing in London. Love, like all the men she encountered. There was a lot of men. Not slut shaming, sorry. I am. Okay. Race, you know, yeah, because she came across some white man that was just read the book. And family, her grandparents. I really, really, really love her grandparents. Like, this book made me cry. Like, it made me cry. Like, I don't know. I wished I had a reading buddy that we could read at the same time and talk about the book at the same time. Because by the time I finish, everything's kulum. Now, back to this one. Okay. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I hope I'm doing it justice. Ifem and Obinze are young and in love when they depart military-ruled Nigeria. In America, Ifem has to grapple with what it means to be black despite her academic success. Obinze plunges into a dangerous, undocumented life in London. 15 years later, when they reunite in a newly democratic Nigeria and reignite their passion for each other and their homeland, they face the hardest decision of their lives. Okay, so the book is heavy. It's Ifem heavy. It's Ifem in London. Sorry, Ifem in America heavy. From her transition from a young woman first going to America for her academic to like do her scholarship and stuff, then into her living in America and life in America. From her being a black woman that's come from a black dominated country where she didn't even know she was a black person, to going to America and then realizing I'm a black person. But oh, I'm not just a black person, I'm an African black, which means I don't have the same struggles as an American black, because American blacks don't have someone they can just turn around and be like, yeah, I'm going back. Whereas I do have that privilege, you see. But she still does face similar injustices, like not being able to get a job. What else is there? Having to do certain things that she was not pleased with, that caused her to have like some mental health issues. Being more neutral when it comes to race issues, but then learning to become offended at certain things. Struggling with not becoming that madame when really she's just a humble girl from Africa kind of thing. And then, excuse me, Obinze is the guy. The thing that struck me with Obinze, yeah, is he's a guy that came from a good home in Nigeria. He came from a good home. His mum was a lecturer. He didn't want for nothing. It was just a lack of choice at the time, of what he wanted to do with his life, basically. So he came to London to get a better choice per se, but he was undocumented. And that was just really scary, and, you know, kind of, we see them both using other people's identities to get jobs or to just live, basically. Whereas Ifemelu's one was because she was there on a visa, but she just couldn't get a job because she was on a student visa, she used someone's name. Whereas Obinze was fully undocumented, completely undocumented. So yeah, we just have like the takes on both, like, and how it's like to be Obinze's transition from, I just noticed this now. Ifemelu transitioned from a not so fortunate background. You know, they had her dad lost his job, and they had the landlord coming and taking things out of the house, demanding 2 years worth of rent up front. Like, who even does that? Having to go and ask the auntie who had a sugar daddy to pay for the rent and all these things, because the dad lost the job, because he wouldn't call his boss mummy when he was like a grown man kind of thing. He lost his job, and so life became hard. Whereas Obinze had a good life. Like, his mum was a lecturer. All that happened was he couldn't just buy Fanta every day like he wanted. He could only have it on Sundays on permission. Whereas Ifem was like in darkness, having a kerosene lamp and all these things. So, but then it transitions to Ifem, like, when she gets to America, she struggles a bit in terms of transition. But then once she gets into the groove of things and gets the job and all that, everything works out for her. You know, she comes across a guy that just gets her, like, he propels her into success. Whereas Obinze in London, you know, he's gone from almost a silver spoon, if you will. He had the house that his friends envied. He had the mum that his friends envied because she was so cool and nice and stuff. To going to London to be, you know, cleaning and stuff. In the book, he said he didn't even mind the cleaning too tough. But there was a time where he was cleaning and there was a poo on the toilet seat, as if somebody had purposely pooed on the toilet seat. And that's when he was like, what is this? I'm better than this. Yeah. And it just really changed my perspective. Like, for me, yeah, one thing that I personally have actively tried to do is to stop, I need to put moisturizer on my lips because these things are dry. Yeah, one thing that I've tried to consciously do is not to have a mindset of like freshies. Because at the end of the day, I don't know which book it was in, but someone mentioned something like, why is it that European accents are considered as desirable and nice and like sexy and whatever, but then if someone has like even Jamaican accents, probably someone could say, I would say so, but if someone has a Nigerian English accent or a Ghanaian English accent or whatever African accent, it's like, ugh, they're fresh off the boat. Like, I don't think that's nice, and I feel like that's something that I have tried to grow out of. I don't know why I said all this. What point was I trying to make? I think, yeah, and like that was like something that I had already had in my mind anyway, and I think it's working because now I'm just like, I'm not laughing at people anymore unless they don't mind or whatever. I have a new respect for people that have come from Africa to this side of the world, because to move from like Italy here or Spain or Germany, it's different because it's not English that's being spoken. But at the end of the day, it's still, you've come from a white dominated country to another white dominated country. You know, you've come from like just tiny differences. Whereas those that come from Africa have come from completely different worlds to this land. So I have a new respect for them. Like, you know, I always ask my mom like to tell me about how it was like when she came from Ghana to Amsterdam, from Amsterdam to here. I have a new respect. Yeah, this book was really good. This book really also helped me to see how Americans see us. I think there are stages to this blackness thing. There are levels to it. I don't think there should be. There shouldn't be, but then there's racism. So yeah, unfortunately there is. Black Americans, I think, have it worse. Obviously, to a white person, before you speak, you're just a black person. Unless you tell them you're African American or that you're a Black American, you're just a black person, okay? But then within the black community, I feel like black people look at other black people with side eyes. I feel like Black Americans look at Africans with side eyes, like, you sold us. You don't understand what we go through. You don't understand the sense of not knowing where you come from and all these things. And then Africans look at Black Americans like, you guys don't have no home training. You guys are mad, like this, that, and the other. But there is a middle ground. Like, we can also educate each other. And I think that for me, as a black person lives in Britain, I think it's like another stage, which is just too much in its own. I tell you, being black is a sociology. That's all I'll say. Okay, it's not a race thing. It's not a race thing. It's not, being black is not, it's deeper than skin. And that, until you understand and get that being black is deeper than skin, I think you won't understand why any of this actually matters, until you understand that being black is deeper than skin color. Yeah. And this book really brings that to light. Whether it's talking about her getting jobs because she has kinky curly hair rather than relaxed hair, whether it's her trying to adopt the American accent and then kicking it to the side when she realizes like she doesn't want to be that kind of person, her having to drop her degrees and stuff from her CVs just to get a job. Yeah, it's just a really good book. What I will do, I've bookmarked, like I've dog-eared all like the bits that I liked, that I would like to go back and reflect on. So I'm going to round this up and I'm going to read this bit here. This is an excerpt. Oh my gosh, I forgot to mention one important thing in here is DK, her nephew. They moved to America when he's about 2 or 3, and he grows up. Oh, this is another thing. So I already know, kind of, because it's I don't know where this guy went. There was a guy on Twitter that I used to follow, and I think they have this thing called, I'm not going to pronounce it right, I'm Ghanaian, but it's like Ukuoku ID, I think. And it's like this Igbo sort of community in the UK, or maybe across the globe, I don't know. Basically trying to just revive the Igbo traditional culture. I know that it got lost within the Biafran war. And this book obviously is of Igbo kind of background. So it's really actually insightful on that. Aunty Uju has a son and they moved to America, and she does not want to teach her son Igbo because he feels like it's going to confuse the child. So she doesn't like it when Ifem speaks Igbo to him. This then leads Dike to have a sense of loss of identity. He doesn't feel like he knows who he is. I feel like he, on one part, counts as a Black American because he came when he was so young. But on the other hand, at home, because he's so cultured and his mum is like, don't go and follow these people because ABC, it's not until they move to a white village in America that he realizes that he's Black, really. So yeah, my room is so hot. I'm gonna turn the fan on. I'm really sorry about that. Anyway, let me turn the fan so it doesn't disturb the sound. I kind of forgot what I was saying. Yeah, and it also shows insight on, so it shows insight of Nigerian kids in America and Nigerian kids in the UK. There's a couple that are in the UK where Obinze stays with, and they also say don't speak Igbo to them because you confuse them. And it shows us that a guy called Blanket, I don't know what he was like in terms of position in the government, but he's the one that basically made that a thing. So I've seen that there are people who are of a certain age who don't really speak Igbo, and I wonder if they were young during the time this Blanket guy made it a thing not to speak another language to a child because they will become confused. Yeah, it's just a really, 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 really insightful book, and I recommend it to everyone who's Black, who's American, because it shows two perspectives, and I think it's just definitely worth the read. I really liked it. They're going to create a mini series, which I'm excited for. And yeah, I'm going to read more of her books because they're just great books. That's my mini book chat done for the 2 current books. My next book I'm going to read is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. And I can tell, I think this is a Yoruba name, perhaps. Yeah. Okay, bye.